real life street stars. Yeah. Y'all clap it up. We have, I want to say, this might be, if not the final story, but this is technically what is considered like the epicenter of possibly the Carbonation story, because there's a beginning, there's an end, but also sometimes the end can be a new beginning.
Yeah.
So we have on the couch, finally, Jenaé. Welcome. Thank you so much again. First and foremost, the story we're about to tell, well, for those that may wonder, like, hey, who do you have on the couch? There's candles, there's books. Go ahead and introduce yourself for how you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Hi, peace, love, and light. My name is Janae Alexandria, and I was known as Neytiri in Carbonation. I've been in and out of Carbonation for some years, and supposedly I'm the alleged victim in the whole situation. So I'm here to tell my story, and I'm a truth speaker. So, and
we're gonna start. Of course, we're gonna move around, but we're gonna start from the beginning, go all the way through. But why you said that? Why were you during the trial of trial of Elijio? Why wasn't your name like brought up more? Why did you have to testify? And if you did, how did they keep it under wraps? Because we never heard about your name. We heard about a victim and someone coming forward, but we never put a face to a name. And I know people who knew, but the world for the most part didn't know.
Yeah, of course, because it was protected by law. You know, we were R-worded victims, so by that means we were protected. And I liked it that way. You know, the harassment and the bullying was very, very harsh. So I'm glad that they protected us. But that's the only reason why. It was by law. They couldn't do that. The judge appointed that to be so, honestly. So
were you fearful in that time if your name is outed to the masses, like where it might be more judgment coming down on you, more harassment, things like that?
No, honestly, I just felt like, yeah, of course that's a big nerve-wracking, but when it comes down to that, I wanted to be the truth speaker. I wanted to tell my story in some type of way, shape, or form. So that's why I wrote a book on it, so people can hear it and see it.
What's the name of that book, real quick, if you don't mind?
Oh, my book is called Lesson Learned, Wisdom Granted by the Divine.
There you go. We're going to talk more on that. And for those that don't know, you are, and I don't want to use word like whistleblower because that's not what it is. Again, you are a victim in this situation.
Oh, yes,
but
absolutely.
you, of course, are the person who initiated where Nature Boy's arrest came down. Yeah. But you're also, a proud mother of Solar, Solar's child, which is your child's name is?
Azuli Rose. Yes.
Man, beautiful.
Thank you.
And we've had Solar on this couch before. We've had Velvet. We've had Shaka. We've had some people to tell the Carbonation story. Mm-hmm. And I feel like your story kind of matters probably the most because without your story, things might still be going on as, regular scheduled programming. Mm-hmm. But, we've seen the Nature Boy sentence. Before we even get started in your story with, as far as how you got to Carbonation, things like that, the sentencing itself, were you surprised?
No, I wasn't surprised, but something in me was a bit shocked as well to the jury actually giving the R-word charge a chance, because I thought that Elijio's lawyer created reasonable doubt for some reason. A lot of people online, it's kind of touchy for me.
No, please, take your time.
Try to downplay my experience, try to say that it didn't happen, call me a liar, all these things. And for me to hear the jury say guilty, it was something in me that didn't know how to take it, if that makes sense. And then when I saw the faces of the other victims on the Zoom call, after their impact statements, smiling at the judgment, at the sentencing, that's when I knew that, yeah, this was a good thing to happen.
You said you didn't know how to take it. Were there things about, did you watch the court case? Did you watch
I was there the whole time.
The whole time. Mm-hmm. So you've seen the prosecution, you've seen the defense go through their testimony. Did it start making you almost feel like, was I the R word? Was I assaulted? Did you start creating doubt in your head, like based on the law of what is considered. Am I reaching too high of what happened?
Well, at first, before the trial, like everything before the trial, like when it first happened, when he first was arrested, that's when I was just like, oh my God, like, because people was bombarding me with, oh, you're a liar. Oh, this didn't happen to you. Oh, that didn't happen to you. And because we was already in carbonation, that's what Elijio did to us all the time. Gaslighted us and make it seem like our reality wasn't our reality. So I had to question myself, like, what, does that really happen? Did it happen? Yes, it happened. Yes, it happened. So I had to go to therapy and I had to explain to her my story each and every time what happened, go deep into the depths of my story, and which I write about in the book. And through therapy and just talking it out, I was able to understand that, yes, it did happen and it's okay to say that it happened. A lot of people don't understand that because what we go through is so traumatic, we're not able to speak about it in that moment in time. And a lot of women don't speak about their story. So when I was able to just come out and tell the authorities and actually go through therapy and understand, yes, it did happen. And yes, it's okay for me to say it happened. That's when I'm like, I took my power back. And I'm like, yeah, I can stand firm in this now. So yeah, he did that. And yeah, the jury did a great job.
So going through the therapy, were you able to get through the therapy and understand what happened, and are you able to speak about it now? Is it?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you, I know it's kind of be a little difficult, can you kind of walk through us like what kind of happened that day or the days or
Well,
anything?
what I want to do is just say that it's in the book.
Okay.
That's all I want to
Okay.
say. I'm going to walk it out because that is, even writing about it was very hard for me. I had to stop plenty of times.
Right.
And it was very difficult for me to relive that moment. And I'm not going to relive it with y'all because it is a very deep, dark moment.
Oh, yeah.
But so I'm just going to let that be known. It's in the book if you want to purchase it. It's on Amazon. So
can I ask you, the jury, was it mostly females? Was it majority men? Was it white, black? Like, can you
It
speak?
was a mixture of people. It was definitely a mixture of people. Yeah.
Based on who it was, do you feel like it was in your favor or Eligio's favor?
I couldn't even tell, but I think it was fair. I think it was all fair, honestly. He got the verdict he got because of his own doings, because how he behaved throughout the whole trial. And the jury saw everything. They saw his movements, they saw his facial expressions, they saw how he wasn't willing to participate in his own trial and try to fire his own, what is it called? Representation?
Yes.
Yeah, so no, they saw all that. And also they saw me, they heard the other victims that came forward. Thank God for them,
Right.
and they did what they had to do. And I'm pretty sure they're sleeping pretty well at night right now.
Did you see his actions? You said you were there
I was there the whole time,
Did
yeah.
you see his mannerisms? Were you like, man, he's not taking this serious?
Absolutely. He would look back at me a lot, and it's not surprising. We lived with him. You know what I'm saying? He's been this way for a very long time. He just had this grandiose personality. It's all about him and what he wants, and everyone else is wrong. So it wasn't surprising to see him just, nudging off what people did and just looking at us weird when we told the truth about what actually happened to us. So
How hard was it to face him and look him in his eyes and when, like?
At first, when they told me to point out, who did, can you point out, identify him? It was something, but I got through it. I did what I had to do, identify him, and then I went in the back and broke down. That's all I did. Yeah, that's
I believe it. And I'm so curious, when you do look at him and you do point out, does he look back at you? And when he looks back, is he trying to look into your soul, or is he still trying to control you through his eyes?
He's still trying to control. You know what he did? He smiled at me. After all
that's that familiar smile.
Yeah, like after all that was said, after everything, he just said, and I'm just leave it at that.
Oh man.
He wanted, in that very moment, wanted just to be in control.
Wow.
Like, why?
So they offered him what I thought they offered him 5 years plea deal, but you mentioned, now that we could talk about it, it was really 7 years they offered him, and with I guess maybe a decade of probation. He denied that.
Yes, he did.
Why do you feel he denied that? Just knowing him,
Knowing him,
and knowing the case that you were presenting, that you're actually saying, hey, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like, man, I could probably, no, I'm not taking that.
Knowing him, he just didn't think he did anything wrong. He always thought whatever he did was justified because he's God. That, is because it's his own world. We came in his world, so he can do whatever he wants. I'm his property. His women is his property. That's what he thinks. So that's what he was saying in an interrogation video. If you listen to it, I'm not sure if you listened to it.
I have not listened to it.
You have to listen to it. He told on himself, basically. He basically told what happened. And tried to lie.
He's talking like it's normal to people who's like, this is not normal.
Yeah, like he was like, when I really thought that he was actually crazy is when in the interrogation video, he was just like, oh, everyone knows me and Neytiri is a thing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been trying to get with Solar the whole time. What are you talking about? We're a thing. We're not a thing. You're holding me hostage as your prisoner wife thing, And I would always tell him, like, I want to be with another man. It was very traumatic for me. But yeah, that's when I noticed he was crazy, is that he was telling people in the interrogation video, this is normal. This is my life. Yeah, this is, what is the word? I live my life in public,
Yes,
and these are my property. This is my girl. So I could do that. It doesn't make it right.
I think he needs to be in the middle of the ocean to have like no jurisdiction. But anyway, get on a boat. Let me ask you this. He denied that. You said he had another plea deal when trial started for 30. And he denied that.
Yeah.
Which I kind of understand, like, all right, if you denied the 7, 30, we're going to trial. Like, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
Would you wish before, like, because most victims of what you've been through don't want to really have to tell their story in trial. They wish, take whatever's supposed to happen and let's not go through this. But he chose to go through this. What was your thought process of him saying, let's take this to trial, knowing that you'll have to probably be involved?
I have done so many things to prepare myself. I did a lot of meditation and prayer. I got a lot of confirmations from my folks, the people that supported me, my friends, the T, Jenaé, my mom, my family, just, stay firm. You got this, So I just felt like, okay, I got this, So that's why I went to do it. But I actually felt that way. I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of felt like, oh my God, because when he was going to discussing taking the plea deal during the trial, I kind of felt a little bit relieved. A little bit, just a little bit. I was like, okay, well, if he takes the plea, and then he didn't. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go then. You want to play this game?
You're strong for that. No, again, I like that attitude. You're strong for that. With that being said, he ended up, of course, the judge, as you stated, his based on his demeanor, because mind you, he was found guilty. Like you said, you were surprised that the guilty verdict came down, but it's still up to the judge to sentence. And he had a woman judge, and she said, I watched you this whole trial, and you pretty much made a mockery of this trial. You were not serious, you're laughing, and she watched him, and he probably doesn't know, but she's clocking all that and just taking it all in. For them to give him life plus 10 without the possibility of parole. Do you feel like he deserved that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Positively 100%. Okay. Before I knew what it really meant, I was like, dang, that's harsh. But he was harsh. He did a lot of bad things. And there's people online sympathizing with him. Oh, he's just a black man. They want to take us down. No, it's not that. He was a sinister man who played off as a good guy. I'm really a good guy. No, you weren't. Because if you would, you would show that. You would do things to show that. But he would torture the members of his cult.
Jaguar Wright said they need, instead of him getting life, they should put a bullet in his head because he's going to go out and do this to more people through the jail system. Teach more nature boys. Do you agree with anything like that?
I would never agree with killing. I don't know if you're allowed to say that word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
But I do say a life for a life. He has taken lives within his cult. I see it as that. He told a woman to stop taking his medicine, stop taking her medicine. Rest in peace, Mama Dia. He had told a young woman to drink while she was pregnant, killed a baby in the womb. Rest in peace, baby love. A life for a life. And not even just those lives. You tarnished a lot of other people's lives, humiliated them to the point where they couldn't go back to their families, to their regular lives, nothing. Like a life for a life.
So if they did sentence him with, let's just say, if they had the death penalty, you'd be for that?
No. I mean, I like I said, I'm not against killing, but we can get off of that. So
okay, just making sure.
That's not me.
There you go.
I do believe in karma, though.
Okay.
I believe in karma, and this is what he gets because of his karma. He put it. It's his own platter that he served to himself. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
So let's go like this. Let's tell your story because for those that look into things like a carbonation or a cult or a sex cult or whatever you want to call it. And I'm sorry, I don't want to say sex cult, but what is considered for you. Can you give us a little backstory? We like to find out as far as, did you have mom and dad in your life? Did you have siblings? Mm-hmm. And what got you into looking into the carbonation or melanation at the time? Mm-hmm. What got you into the hands of Elijio or hands of that entity?
Yeah, what lured me into carbonation.
Yes.
Okay. With my parents, they're Jamaican. So they came here, but my parents weren't together. Me and my mom are more close than me and my dad. My dad, I didn't really know him like that. My dad was a Rolling Stone.
So was a Rolling Stone.
He was. So he had his women, and he showed favoritism to some of his kids. For my dad, I don't know him like that. So I did develop daddy trauma, if that's what you want to call it. So abandonment issues as well. All that trauma stemmed from childhood, and not really having a parental figure as a father guiding me in the right direction made me go towards men to get guidance from them. So I seek that guidance in my relationships. And that's why it was so easy for me to go to narcissist. Just having some kind of parental, like some kind of control from a man over my life. So I figured that out during therapy. So I feel like, healing myself from that, knowing that I don't really need to go through it to a man for that guidance, knowing that God lives within me, father, mother, whoever you want to call the God figure that lives in us. I can go to God for guidance and healing and nurturing and love, and also I can have my family as well. So one thing, daddy wasn't there. Yeah.
People could look into that and say, we could see a dad saying, hell no, you're not going. And hell no, when someone like a nature boy.
I wish.
Yeah. So what age were you when you got interested in carbonation, and what made you become interested in what they were doing?
I would say this is around 2016, 2017, right? So I would say around 23, 23. I'm 29 now. You all do the math.
My head was, I was like, oh shit, I'm stuck.
so yeah, around that time. So I'm still like young and everything like that. So I came across carbonation because around that time I left the church. I was seeking God. I was seeking guidance, clarity on my life. I was seeking direction. And I didn't really know where to go after leaving, the church. I left because there was so many things in it that I didn't see resonated with me. And I was humiliated by the first lady. And it made me sad to see that Satan was in the church. So it made me feel like, I know the Holy Spirit. God walks with me. And I'm going to have to try to find this in my own way. Then it's a spiritual awakening. A lot of people's online telling, oh, I know this and I know that. Go this way, go that way. And I listened to Ralph Smart and I went to Chanel Cooper Sykes. And then my twin sister happened to have Nature Boy on her phone, and she showed me a video of Nature Boy. And he was talking about the prototype woman, the woman that he was, into with his direct yaya. He was with yaya at the time, and it was called melanation at the time. So I looked at him and I saw what he was teaching and preaching. I resonated with it, thought that he was talking about me. I resonated with the prototype woman, and I was just like, you know what? What if he's talking about us? Me and my twin sister, what if he's talking about us? So I started to watch him some more, and I started to watch the people who followed him. The people who followed him were so passionate about what they were preaching and teaching. So I started to do what they were saying. And oh my God, it made me feel so good to be in nature and find God in nature. And I felt like I had a purpose again by just preaching what I'm going through and experiencing. And so that's what got me caught in carbonation.
Did you see anything or any warning signs, any flags that you just seen early on when you kind of start, did you see anything that made you say this might not be right, but throw caution to the wind?
Yeah, absolutely. So for one, I did see a demonic essence and presence on Nature Boy at first. And it made me feel like, I don't know about this guy, but the angels, the people that was around him, they were cool. They didn't look as bad. So I was like, you know what? This don't look, because they're there, it might be good. So, which he did that a lot. He let his people recruit people in. You see how that works? So he don't look so bad, so.
That makes sense. You send out the 5 horsemen, do the devil's work. Let me ask you, you said you were humiliated by the first lady at church.
Yeah.
What happened? If you don't mind me asking.
Basically what happened, I was so passionate about church. I was in the choir. Sorry, if I cry, it's because it's very touching. When I found the church, I was so broken. One day I was just crying and bruised up. I had a fight with someone I loved, and I just found the church, and I walked in and I sat in the back, and they welcomed me in, and they sang. They didn't know me from a can of paint, but they welcomed me into the church. So when that happened, I stayed there. And I joined the choir, and I did everything just to be in the family and the communion of the church. One day, the first lady, which she would tell me that I'm not ready yet to speak on the mic or speak to the people about my testimonies with the Holy Spirit, because I was experiencing a lot of spiritual awakenings and a lot of things with the Holy Spirit, and I was being blessed left and right. And I wanted to be a testimony for the church. So when the pastor called out, does anybody have a testimony? I was like, I'd get up and I'm like, I got a testimony. I want to be a testament to God. This sagged my heart. The pastor was like, oh, not you. I meant the older people in the church. He meant the elders. And I looked at him like, I might be young, but I know God. And I know the Holy Spirit, and I know what the blessings in my life has done for me, and I want to express that. So when the first lady took the mic, she says, I just want to give my props and big ups to the people that's actually in church school. So basically, she had told me one time that if I want to speak, I have to be going to church school. And that embarrassed me really bad. And then she had the audacity after church to look me in my eyes and say, I didn't mean to, embarrass you. I didn't mean to. I was just saying out of love. And I saw Satan right through her. It's in her eyes. And that disheartened me the whole time. I was just like, something's wrong with this. So that's when I stopped going to church, because Satan could be in the church too. And all through it, slithering around. So I just was like, it's not safe for me here.
So let me ask you, Nature Boy, did you meet him overseas? Did he meet him in the States? How did you get introduced after you did your research and I think I could be a prototype woman? Mm-hmm. Did you go to him or he come to you? How does that work?
Oh man, I would say it was a back and forth. He doesn't remember this, but I remember my first time ever speaking to him, and I was afraid to give him my natal chart because that's what he asks for. He asks for your natal chart to see your energies and how it fits with the group and everything. But it's basically a tactic to know who you are and know how to manipulate you. So I was scared to give that to him for some reason because I was just like, I heard people can place voodoo on you if they know your chart and stuff. And he was like, how are you not going to trust me, but you want to come here? That ended. Then secondly, we got into contact when I was in Thailand. Velvet wouldn't allow that conversation to go any further though, because that's when he was with Velvet and stuff. And then both Velvet and Nature Boy wanted to recruit me as their wife while they were in Belize. So, but I didn't go there because I didn't want to run out on a traffic bill or traffic ticket or whatever like that. So, it was a back and forth. Yeah, that's how we got into contact. I was basically a fringe member at first. I was part of the frequency family. Basically what a frequency family is a family of people who's on the same thought frequency as you. So that's how Carbonation had, people online being their members as well. People outside of Carbonation, there's the inside Carbonation and there's the outside Carbonation. The outside Carbonation is called the fringe members. So I was one of those, living my life, doing whatever I did with Carbonation in mind and the principles in mind and living the principles, but not in the physical group yet. So I went off and did my own thing in Thailand, and I lived in Thailand for 5 months, living the knowledge and, doing all these things Carbonation-like. So did I answer that question?
You answered that perfectly, but we're going to get to how did you actually then meet him in person?
Okay, so I met him in person when I was in Atlanta, Georgia. I was working at Cecili's Raw Reality. Shout out to Cecili's. I love that place. It's a raw vegan restaurant, and they walked in. The members, which was the men, because the men did the work. They went out and did stuff at that time, and the women stayed at home, I think, at that time. And so Elijio and his men walked in, and I instantly knew who they were because these were people I watched for years. And so we all met each other. He was flirting with me and stuff like that. And basically he told me to call him. I never called him, but the members stayed in touch with me because I always was in touch with them in a way, on and off in my journey. So one of the members, his name was Tron. Tron reached out to me, and me and him were talking, trying to get to know each other a bit. But I would always tell him I didn't want to be with him. I saw him as a friend, but he still pursued. So that's what the men in Carbonation would do. They would pursue the women, get them in. But when the women get in, Nature Boy takes them. So yeah, basically. So that he basically learned it in women through the men. So I didn't see it as then. I thought it was just people, it was Tron and Solar trying to get me in at that time. And so we all partied together, me and the tribe. And after that, I couldn't get them out my mind. And I actually was like, you know what? Forget this trip that I'm going on to Bali, because I was going to go to Bali, Indonesia, to be a yoga teacher. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be in Carbonation instead because I'm being recruited by Tron and Solar. And they're telling me that it's my purpose to be in Carbonation. It's my purpose to be with a family, a soul tribe, and, live out my dreams or whatever. So I was just like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I went to Carbonation after that.
You booked a trip. You already had your passport. Well, of course, you're already in Thailand. You just said, I'm going to go where they're at.
They were in Bali. They was in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. I was going to go to Bali. So it was either Bali or Carbonation.
Okay. So while they're in Atlanta, you were like, I'm just going to stay here in Atlanta with them, whatever they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You said you have a twin sister.
Yes, I do.
And she was interested as well. Or she was looking with you.
She was looking, and she wasn't as interested, no. She just was looking. And I took an interest because I started to live what they were saying. I started to go out into nature. And so I started to find God in the experiences that I was having with nature. And I was like, you know what? I could dig this.
Okay. So a lot of people who follow the Carbonation story, they know, when you say a year, they know what was going on in Carbonation that year. Mm-hmm. So what year was it for you when you said, I'm I'm gonna go. Was it 2016 when you said I'm gonna choose to be with, the nation?
In 2017, I believe I found Carbonation online. 2020 is when, you see how that goes?
Before COVID or after COVID?
Before COVID.
Or right before COVID.
Like literally at COVID.
Wow.
Like literally, so that's how I got stuck there.
Gotta get you stuck. You gotta quarantine with who you with.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what he was preaching as well.
This is perfect.
Yes.
It's perfect.
He was just like, yes, find your soul family and stay with them. So I was just like, oh, I'm supposed to stay here.
Yeah, I could see back then people thought the world was gonna end.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, might as well do it with who I'm with.
With your family, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So 2020, tell us about, again, you're in Atlanta. This is all Atlanta, Georgia right now. Mm-hmm. At what point, how was it in Atlanta being with Carbonation? Like, were they just in a house?
Yes.
It just is a regular house?
Yes.
Whose house was it?
It was a woman named Mama Cookie. Like Mama Cookie had a house for us to stay in, and people were everywhere. We slept everywhere. People slept in the basement. People slept in the living room. People slept in the dining room. People slept upstairs, right by the staircase.
What?
On the floor. Yeah, we were packed. It was like 25 of us in that one house.
So what was y'all day to day like? Because this is, mind you, I can understand when people say like we were out in Belize and Hawaii doing all this nature stuff, but now you're just in Atlanta. Or so you wake up and like, what is the day to day like?
Well, you had to stay busy. You had to be doing something, for the mission. Whether you're recording yourself, talking about the knowledge that he preached, you're supposed to regurgitate what he says verbatim, or you're, making music. Carbonation is a production, thing, music production. And so there were people in the basement in the studio all day too. And then the women would cook. That took about like the whole day. And then, then you can draw, you can color, you can do art, you can also study. I studied every day in Carbonation because I wanted to know the knowledge and stay on the frequency. Because if you're off the frequency, you get shunned, you get, ridiculed, or you get, pointed out. And I didn't want to get pointed out. So.
Is everyone friends?
Sorry, that's insensitive. I wish there was like more closeness with the family. He would separate the men from the women a lot. When I got there, the men and women were separated, and it was taboo for the women to speak to the men. So I didn't know that though. So when I started speaking to the men, I was reported, and to the king, or to the, excuse me, I'm gonna call him the king because that's where I was at the time. Right. He was the king, and he was the chief, and he was the god of the home. So they would report me to him, and I was just like, I don't see what the problem is, and I almost start crying because I'm just like, we're just being normal, we're being human, And after that, he changed that rule so everybody can be together again after I made that complaint, and then he takes the women away from the men again. Yeah, he would do that constantly. Yeah, I wish we were closer though.
Was there a punishment for talking to men? Not just for you, but just for anyone, like let's I secretly say hi to somebody or wink at somebody. And I don't mean just, say
no,
like,
it's fine.
I'm just looking at like from a normal standpoint, like if I try to go out and reach out to somebody, is there a punishment for that?
I believe so. Like later along the line, there was punishments, I remember that he would put me in the corner because he thought I was looking at Solar, which I was.
Were you looking at Solar?
Which I was.
Was he looking back?
Yeah, he literally saw me looking at him and was like, "You want to go in the corner?" I said, "Oh snap, let me just, nah, I'm good." But he would put people in the corner, do
You stood
squats.
in the corner?
He only put me in the corner like twice. And I said only because he would frequently put people in the corner for hours.
For those that may not know what the corner is.
Okay, the corner is literally going in a corner, staring at it for 2 hours or more, depending on how he wants to punish you that day. And just being there with your own thoughts. You're not able to move. You're supposed to stand silent, stand on your feet for 2 hours looking at the wall.
Can you sleep? I mean, can you doze off?
No. And if you doze, you can't doze off. Some people would, nod off and stuff, but you'll get in trouble. Yeah, like,
Did you ever see him break his own rules?
All the time.
There was never no punishment for him.
No, he would change the rules. He would be up and down. He would take the rules away and put new in, whatever he saw fit at the time. At one time, we couldn't smoke weed. Now after he smokes weed, everyone can smoke weed. You know what I'm
Did he
saying?
give a reason behind the rule changes? Like, today I saw a butterfly. I'm just saying, I mean, like, was there like something behind it that gave it?
Maybe he will have like some like revelation or how you said a word.
Yeah,
Like I say like sometimes, but he would just be at whim at it because he just does what he wants and he want to be able to do what he wants. Like, yeah, if the women were in a relationship with a man, if he wants to have sex with you that day, he would tear you apart from that relationship, which he did to me.
How does he tear you apart for that relationship?
Basically, he was very strategic. For one, the whole day, he would probably, for me, what he did was try to persuade me into like sleeping with him. And if I'm like, I don't want to do that, I'm with Solar or whatever, he was trying to woo me by putting on this get up or whatever, Casanova stuff. And then he'll go to the man and say, nah, I don't think the relationship's working. Da, 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 da.
Just gossiping to the other men.
Yeah, and just getting in the man's ear. And then, well, if getting in my ear didn't work, he'll go to the man and get in his ear.
To
which
what
he did.
game? Just to have them act funny around you or something?
I wrote about it in the book. I believe that he got a rush out of taking the women away from the men. I think he got a confidence boost and a rush from doing it because he was so insecure himself. So he didn't like the women giving men attention. He wanted to be the almighty king. Everyone has his attention. Everybody has his praise, So.
Yes. Were you attracted to Nature Boy, Elijio? Like, was there attraction there?
Not initially at first. At first, I did not see him that way in the slightest. I just saw him as a teacher. That was my teacher. Of course, throughout the duration, especially with Stockholm Syndrome, you develop feelings. So for me, I started to see him outside of how I used to look at him as just a teacher and just a, guy. I wasn't attracted to him, Solar was more my type than he was for some reason. I don't know why, but he was. But later along the line, I developed deep Stockholm Syndrome feelings. And I saw him as attractive, I guess. I don't know.
Solar said on the couch, he said, I still think he's the Messiah.
What?
Solar said that.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he said that.
Did?
He said that. So, like, at that time, how did you see him? Did you, when he would say these things, like, I am the Messiah or something, did you believe this or?
There was always a little voice in my head that was saying, like, no, he's not. But we were being persuaded so much that we were like forced to believe it. Right. So then I started to believe it. I remember one time we was in the home and he put on praise and worship music and we were all bowing at his feet and praising him. And I started crying because in that moment, I truly believed that he was Jesus Christ. That's how.
What was he doing in that moment? Just sitting there? Or was he speaking?
If I showed you, you would laugh.
I would like for you to show me.
He's just walking around like.
Oh, like Mufasa, like chin in the air.
Yeah, like.
I don't want to think about
It's laughable now, but at the moment,
but he was really playing into it, like.
Yes, like he was. You guys have no idea. He brainwashed us. It was manipulation, brainwashing, and all that at its finest, and that's what makes him dangerous.
Yeah, and I want to say this because Solar said on the couch that while he was in jail, he was talking to Elijio, and Elijio told him to go in a corner from the phone.
Oh yeah.
And he said he was about to, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, you're in." But the fact that he was about to even do it, it shows, like you said, the brainwashing that
control.
Even just the voice of someone not being here, like I don't know if it's punishment or like you said, blessings or curses, but yeah, no, that's serious.
Yeah. He actually, I talked to him on the phone while he was in prison. He reached out to us, and he was trying to get through me. I was like, hold on. I was like, bro. Yeah. I was like,
crazy.
he's like, yeah, what's your name, bro?
So what's your sign?
Yeah, he's like, what's your sign? I was like, hey, bro. Look, hey, man.
What time?
Do you want to do an interview or not? It was like that. Yeah, that's the type of thing he was.
I know he's doing that. Wherever he's at, I know he's doing it right now.
Absolutely.
I know he's introducing
yeah.
himself and asking people, hey, what's your sign, man? So let me ask you this, because let me ask you because, you know, this is what you're speaking on. And, you know, I know we're moving around geography wise, but for what you saw in Solar, was there other men that were attracted to you? Because, you know, you're an attractive looking lady to where you're young, you're in this like that's why I says everyone a family, is everyone friendly? Because I can see someone saying, hey, like Solar, like, hey, I like her. Or someone else saying, oh man, that's you, but man, I want to talk to her too. Was there other people like vying for your attention at the time?
Yeah. There was a time where he had a meeting. Elijio had a meeting, and he would do this frequently, and people would, you know, say who they liked around the circle. Yeah. Didn't matter though. But
man. He just want to see, like, let me see who
yeah.
can take next.
Yeah, and
that's crazy. That's crazy.
One of the people his name was Loyal. I dated him. He rest in peace, Loyal. He's no longer with us. But yeah, he liked me, and then there was another person who liked me, and then another one came up to me and told me he liked me, and he saw me as attractive. But he couldn't do nothing about it, and I wasn't gonna do anything about it, so I just, you know, left it alone.
At the time, who was Nature Boy with? Was this just Velvet, or did he have multiple wives at this time? Or
so when I wasn't around as much when Velvet was around. I would say that Velvet left, you know, sometime after I came, the first time, because I've been in Carbonation 3 times. So I've left in and out of Carbonation 3 times, and so has Velvet. But around the times where I was there, she wasn't there. So she was there when I was there the first time. She was there, left, and came back when we was in Hawaii. So, but majority of the time when I was there, he was with Malia.
Do you hold anybody responsible, like that was on the same level as Nature Boy, that had that same intent, that could have been just as worse as him?
There's a lot of people that's just as worse as him. There's a lot of people.
That I'm talking about in Carbonation.
Oh, I mean, there's, you know, speculations that, you know, the father of my child,
right,
my baby father, could be just as bad. I think that a lot of us was just tarnished from him by Elijio, but I don't think anyone is just as bad as him. He's just really cruel. We're talking about a 40-year-old man who took advantage of a lot of 20-year-olds.
Right.
You know, so.
Do you think he would have eventually came to the point of killing people or anything like that?
He would talk about, I remember he said to me one time, he looked me in the eye and he said, I could kill you if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. That was crazy. And he used to tell Malia that he would kill her if he tried to leave. And then he would do these like, what is it called? Suicide pact things, where he would say like, if something happened to me, what y'all gonna do?
Right.
And he expected us to say, we going with you, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Did that ever make you worry about like what's in the Kool-Aid? What's in the food?
I never knew about the Kool-Aid.
Oh.
I never, like, we didn't know it was a cult. Like, people would say it's a cult, but because of the whole, he would say a cult is a culture. And we're like, oh yeah, we're bringing culture to the people. Yeah, we're a cult, you know? So he made it seem like it was something not to really look into, you know? But no, I didn't even know about a Jim Jones. I didn't even know about Charles Manson. I didn't know about different cults.
If you had known, would you have looked at it any differently? Like if you had the knowledge behind the Jim Jones, yeah.
I don't know, because by that time I was already indoctrinated.
So can I ask you this? What was his steps to brainwashing from your experience to that? Like, I'm sure he had a system.
Absolutely. He had a recruitment system. So basically, for 30 to 90 days, you're supposed to isolate yourself from, society and your job and everything of that nature, from people, which you consider your Babylon family. Babylon family is your blood relative. Relatives, excuse me, I said relatives. So relatives. So basically, you're supposed to listen to him, his teachings. You're supposed to literally sleep to his voice, on all these are tactics for mind control. Just making sure that y'all know that, literally mind control. So then he would say, get out into nature, go sleep in tents, Then he would say, document your life. Basically, go on a screen and start proclaiming the kingdom of God. So basically saying, shout out to my chief, Elijio the Christ, the God and my Lord and Savior. Now, this is the message that he wants me to tell you, basically, but not saying this is the message you want me to tell you. This is the message of God. Basically, this is the message coming from him. So, yeah, there was a lot of recruitment things, but isolation was one of them. Sleeping to his voice, listening to his voice all day, being in tune with everything that he's doing. So you have to watch him on live. And he goes live all day.
Y'all had Wi-Fi or wherever y'all everywhere had?
Yeah. I'm talking about the recruitment, what is it called? Recruitment system. So that means initiation. So basically, before I went to Carbonation, this is what I did. And this was what brainwashed me in the first place and got him into my subconscious mind, which is how he was able to control his people and still able to do that now because he's in their mind now.
So you did it, the rules of initiation, and I'm sure people came there after you, and you witnessed them having to go through the same thing, them having to do the same thing. Were you encouraging that they do the same thing, you yourself?
I don't think I was encouraging it that much, but I would encourage them to be stay focused, keep the knowledge, and this is what we're learning. This is what, if people came in, I'm teaching them what we're learning in Carbonation, and I'm teaching them their natal chart. I'm talking about the 5 sciences which is the curriculum that Carbonation had. I had to study every day, so I wanted them to study with me. That's what I would do. I would talk about, and I would just, also make sure that they're okay. I like to get deep with people. Yeah.
All right. And real quick, how long were you with Carbonation overall?
I was in and out of Carbonation for about 3 years.
And you said you left 2 times or 3 times you went back. What was the reasons that you went back each time, if you don't mind, just a quick part?
Yeah, of course. For the first time I went to Carbonation was to be with the family, of course, because I was being told that that's what was my purpose instead of going to Bali, Indonesia. So that's the first time I went to Carbonation, to be with my frequency family. The second and third time I wanted to be with Solar. So I went to go be with him, but that never happened.
Okay, so this is where we might go a little left, because we hear things. So you speak of initiations. We heard about situations of, what is it called? Downloading, I think it's called. Yeah. Where you download the man, Nature Boy semen. You got to download. Yeah. What is that?
Basically, what he taught, and I wrote about this in my book too. That's so crazy you asked that. It's DNA. Semen is DNA, and DNA is memories. DNA is all your information. So he has, to him, right? He had the God genes, the superior genes of the earth. The indigenous original man. That's what he said he was. So to sleep with him was to connect with your higher self, connect with your godlike self, and to sleep with him and get transferred the semen into you. That's you taking the download. We considered our vessels as devices, basically, like computers, and we're the software of this on this earth, basically. So we upgrade, right, when we take his semen. Basically, that's what he was saying.
So this is during an intimate encounter. Was there ever a situation where he's like, "This is not intimate. We're just gonna put it in the cup and pass it around"?
Ooh, I did hear about that. He did say to the men that, he said to the men that they would have to start taking his semen too, because the women would take his semen. Thank God I never had to take his download through there. Thank God, because it's nasty. But but yeah, he did start to say later on to the men that they're gonna have to start doing it. I don't think they did though.
Okay. So when people look at carbonation and say this is a sex cult, for what you want to speak about, when people say that, why would they say that? And when they say that, what do you say to that? That this is a sex cult.
Now I actually absolutely agree, because I didn't know what a sex cult was until it was explained to me. At first I was like, a sex cult? No, we're just a family living our life in nature and being the elite and the chosen by God. What are you talking about? But then when they explained to me and I saw what was going on, it's a sex cult because the women that come to Carbonation, you have no choice but to sleep with Elijio eventually. And he let that be known. Like, no, everybody, all the women have to sleep with me here. So that's why, and plus also there was so many, switching around with people, getting couples together and then tearing them apart. So people were sleeping around with each other at one point.
Is it a situation where it's like group sex?
He would have threesomes.
No other men, it's just him and like, hey, I'm gonna bring two ladies in. Or is it like, hey, insert man's name here?
Yeah, it got crazy during the end. Like, that's when I left. But I've seen online that he did invite, I don't know how to explain it. How do you say them? Transsexuals?
Yes.
Is that that's a respectful term?
That's a respectful term.
Okay, all right. So he would invite transsexuals over, and then the men would be in the room. So he had men in the room with the transsexual woman, and had the transsexual woman suck them up or something like that.
Oh, wow.
There's a video out there like that.
Yeah, I seen someone put a screenshot of, seen a video where you see, well, I guess it's transsexual. You see 4 men standing over the transsexual. I'm like,
Yeah,
what the
I
heck's going on?
remember. Yeah.
You see Elijio, you see Soap out there too.
Yeah, I think he's behind the camera. Yeah? I don't know. But I know he did. The do with her, because I was there one time when she came over, and they were doing the do.
Oh, this is like one person that, or like
yeah. One, I believe the same person came over and did that video with them. I think that's what happened. But yeah, there were group sex when it comes down to threesomes. He would put on a show basically. Sometimes with me, I was he liked to do certain things with different people. And for me, he liked to put on a show with me, I guess. That's how he liked to view it.
Like music, candles? You mean like preparation before?
And this is the only time I'm going to say it, and I'm going to leave it alone because now that I'm transitioning out of that lifestyle, I don't like to be so intimate about my personal intimacy. This is the last time I'm going to say it. He would have women on each side of the bed dancing while he's performing his sexual act. That's what he liked to do with me, so I guess.
I know the way you just moved your hands just now.
Yeah,
like
that's what they
interpretive dance?
Yeah, like wow.
That.
Yeah, that's what they would like. Yeah.
Wow. Was this like safe sex going on here, or is it like?
That's why they called it a sex cult too. They didn't believe in protection. Wow. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what comes with that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that shouldn't be even mentioned or even dawned upon, come with that. Yeah.
So I have to ask you because, we did talk to Velvet, and the part of her story on this couch that kind of really got people they were, one part was Mama D. Which I don't think you were there for the Mama D story. But what was, from your knowledge, what did you hear about the Mama D story? I know you mentioned the pills and stopped taking her medication. What was your knowledge of the Mama D scenario?
Well, from my knowledge, he told her to stop taking her heart medication because she did have heart problems. And then she stopped, which I believe because we didn't believe in medication from, prescribed from the doctors either. in Carbonation. That's what he preached, like taking herbs or just being natural. Not even just taking herbs, just being natural and just eating from the earth and grounding, will help with that. So he told her to stop with her medication, and then one day she just ended up being dead in the tent. That's what I heard.
Well, to his defense, Shaka went there and did everything natural and beat cancer. So wouldn't she kind of believe to do that, like that could work?
Of course, but it just wasn't the right way. There's a certain way to go about it. If you're gonna do that, there's a list you have to start doing. There's precautions with that. You just don't stop taking your medication and do nothing. You stop taking your medication and start taking herbs. You know what I'm saying? Right. You start doing teas. You start eating right. Start eating alkaline. You start, doing the sun, and the grounding and stuff and deep breathing. But you don't just stop taking your medication and that's it. And just live. Like, you got to do the work to heal yourself. So he didn't know have any knowledge of that, apparently. And he just let her die.
When we hear about passports being taken, IDs being taken, was that a thing? Like, you have to relieve that to them?
Yes, you have to give your money. The first thing is you give your money. You put it in
whatever
the pot.
You have, like, hey,
whatever you have, like if even if it's $5, you put it in the pot. That's what it's called, a pot, and it goes towards the collective. But really, it goes towards him and what he wants to do in his shenanigans for that day. But then you give away all your belongings, your possessions. No longer belongs to you. It belongs to the tribe. It belongs to the cult. So everyone, if you have a lot of clothes, like I did, I had a lot of clothes. Now it becomes, everyone's clothes. And
no one asked you. Someone's just wearing your blouse or something.
Yeah, it's a community thing. So they just, and I enjoyed it. Then is the documentations. The documentations get taken. And stored with, certain people or the 18s or whatever have you.
So, we always talk about, or not we always, but we speak on like the damaging things of carbonation occult. Mm-hmm. There were some good things that you found in that, correct? I mean, was there a time that you felt like this is life, I am alive and I'm living my best life right now? And how long were you in that, euphoria?
Well, of course, there's a love bombing stage with every narcissist, right? So he would take us out to trips and fly us to different places and take us to nature reserves. And, that was a nice part of it, and then we would throw parties out of nowhere. That was a nice part of it, but those don't really last long at all, Then you get secluded and then you're expected to work every day. Do something that's, building him up,
Like what kind of work? Like what were people doing?
I know the men for sure had to put out like a video every day of him, like putting stuff together and of him, like videos of him and audios of him and putting that out. And then the men had to do music every day, putting out the message, to allure people in through music, right? That's something you got to watch out for, brainwashing and manipulation through music. And then the women, like I said before, they had to cook, but also had to pick out his clothes, iron his clothes, pick out his foot water or his face water, stand by his side, whatever he needed to, he would need. And if he don't want you by his side, go somewhere else, do something different. You had to stay busy in carbonation because if you're not doing something, you're looked at as what's wrong with you? Like, you're not on the frequency. We stay busy here.
Can you complain? Like, does anyone complain?
No, never. You're supposed to have the highest vibrational frequency of thought, right? So complaints don't live on that frequency. So basically, even if you're feeling turmoil inside, you're not allowed to express that. You have to have the healthy perspective or a higher perspective, basically.
What about if you're sick, a call for stomach ache? What happens there?
If you have a physical ailment, it's because of your thoughts.
Oh.
Yeah, basically in carbonation, if you have a physical ailment in your body, if you're having pains, if you're sick, if you have, eczema, if you have allergies, it's because of you're thinking negatively, or you're not applying the knowledge, or you're not facing yourself or your demons. So, yeah.
What about the diet? What are y'all allowed to eat? What, you know?
Well, we only eat once a day.
Okay.
And then we snack throughout the day, right? Or, you know, it just depends, actually, because it would switch up.
Could you get, like, McDonald's if you...
No, no, I wouldn't even get McDonald's now. I'm not going to lie to you. Like,
I'm just saying, like,
let's see. You would have to eat what the people them cook. You know, you had to eat what the women would cook.
Did Nature Boy eat everything that was cooked, or did he... Did you ever see him eat something that he wasn't supposed to eat?
Sorry, I had a flashback and it was really gruesome what happened. One time, he was served meat that wasn't organic. So basically, you were supposed to eat organic, you know, but he was served meat that came from somewhere. So he called it mystery meat. And since Aya was the head cook and she prepared the meal, she got the punishment, of course. He smashed her head into the wall, and because he was so angry that he was fed mystery meat, and yelled at her and all that stuff. So it's traumatizing to witness the abuse.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it's just as traumatizing to experience the abuse, but
to see it,
it's like, oh man, it's not right, man. It's not right at all.
Are you able to speak on some of the physical abuse you might have seen and what that might have, how the person who made it received it, how they did receive it? Like, did they just be quiet? Did they fall in line? Did they fight back? Can you speak on anything you might have seen?
Yes. For one, I know that Velvet was on this show. I haven't really seen her get hit. That's the narrative that I want to clear up on this show, that she keeps saying that these women saw me get abused and did nothing. I didn't see her get abused. It's when I heard she was abused, that's when I started speaking up about carbonation with Shaka and them. But I did see Malia, and I did hear Velvet and Elijio go at it in the room, but they would have sex right afterwards. So I don't know what about that, but you know, that's traumatizing in its own. Malia, man, he slapped her so silly dizzy one time, she lost feelings in her hands, and her hands were like crazy like this. And then I witnessed him whipping Malia with a belt multiple times. Like, I'm telling you, up to 50 to 100 times I've seen him get whipped by a belt, slashed on her back, told her to get on the floor, on her face, and then told her to get in the shower, get wet for a second, get back on the floor, and start whipping her, and says, oh, this is starting to feel good, and he starts smiling. Now, that was crazy. The physical abuse was mad when it came down to the queens of carbonation. Now, the mental abuse was also bad as well. During that time that Malia was getting whipped, she was also forced to kiss our feet and tell us that she's sorry for trying to leave naked. This is around the time I told y'all that he tackled her to the floor for trying to run out the door naked, from trying to run from being abused from him, by him. So yeah, there was a lot of abuse on the women, of course. I've seen a lot.
What about the man? Like, did you see him abuse men also? Because we see him smacking people on camera. Was that something off camera that he would do also?
So the men I didn't really see get abused. When I left, that's when he started abusing more, or showing the abuse online more. That's when I left. I didn't know that's what he was doing until he placed that revenge porn on me. That's when I started to look again, like what's going on, because people are saying this and saying that, and I saw that he was abusing the men now.
When he would abuse the women, the queens, what did the man do? Did the man just stay around? Did they hear? Did they try to come up there and be like, hey, is anything okay? Or they just sat there?
No one was allowed to do anything about it. They just sat there and just watched. It was okay. It was just...
There were videos that we do see where I specifically remember one where he told the women, the queens, to, hey, slap her and slap her. We had, I believe it was Jaguar. Somebody came on the couch, and I think it was her, who said they would just put on for the camera to show that, hey, this is what's going on. And I don't mean the abuse part, but just do things for the camera. Like, it became a show almost. Like, hey, we have to, for Bigo, we have to record, we have to do this. And I think I seen another one where the men had to carry him to the bathtub. They had to crawl towards him, wash his feet and do some things that I'm like, it's not becoming. And there was one specific one where he was kind of degrading a Caucasian boy, a Caucasian male. He was just degrading him in front of everybody and just saying how he was the king and he's God. I remember seeing that. When I see things like that, again, this is after he's already arrested, and you just Google carbonation. From what you know, from your time there, was that, let's just say, even if you didn't see it or from you hearing about it, do you feel that's something that majority was happening a lot, or is that something that would be one-offs? Like, it'll be great 30 days, and then one day the monster will come out and have to.
Oh, the monster was there all the time. It would be great for what? A few days? 3 days, maybe the most, for like, not even 4. The monster was there. Like, he would be mad and angry a lot and just stomp around. And then he would turn into this sweet angel and say, I love you guys, and all this other stuff. But the monster was there a lot. Sorry, I just went somewhere else.
Yeah, no, whenever, it's funny. We're speaking on these things. And again, thank you again, because we're asking you to relive moments that, either you've seen, or even, for people who haven't seen it, just think of the darkest places it could go. And, there you have it.
It was Carbonation. It's the show. He was talking about the show.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, yeah, it was like we were his monkeys, and we had to entertain y'all, regardless of how we felt. If it wasn't fair. If we didn't feel like go on the camera that day, we would be reprimanded, or we just be looked at as funny. We'll be talked about, all this mental abuse, and then it would get to the point where you can stand in the corner, or you just not on the frequency, whatever. But yeah, we had to put on a show, but it was actually it was our real lives. We were just living. And there'll be times where he put on scenes, and the women had to dress up, and we had to sing for the camera, whatever we had to do, dance for it, whatever. Sometimes that was a fun part for me. I like to showcase my talents with the beautiful women of the tribe that actually had good talents. I wanted to showcase that with him, but to the point where he's now trying to make money off of our humiliation. He would put these shows on called Real Nigga Moments, or the Dr. Bishop show. And he would basically try to do therapy with us, but it was basically humiliating us. Wow. So it's just we became his monkeys in the circus.
How was money being made through Carbonation? Was it through online, Bigo? Did that become a financial source? Hey, we have to stay active because this is the money.
Well, the women were very in the dark about that. Myself personally, I didn't know anything about the finances. I just lived there. But from what I know, it's a lot of PPP loans or scams, or, a lot of donators, people who donated because they loved the show. They loved whatever we was doing, the frequency, they loved the family. But yeah, it just turned from a mission and a purpose into a entertainment show. And that's what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to put on a show, but it wasn't really a show. It was our lives, That's how I felt, at least.
If someone wanted to leave, you left a couple of times, if someone wanted to leave, what's the procedure? You can just get up and say, hey, I'm gonna head out. Can I have my passport back?
It was different for each individual. If he liked you, you're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere.
And he's just you're not going nowhere. He just make up reasons. Oh, I can't find your.
So with the queens of Carbonation, which was Malia and Velvet, they had their documentations taken away, so they can just leave willy-nilly, and their phones and everything like that. And he would try to like force them to stay, possibly R-word them, basically, and just coerce them to stay or so. And if that didn't work, because those two were kind of violent, he would push them away. Just give them the stuff, go, and then they'll come right back because he would
manipulation.
serious manipulation. Yeah.
I want to go back to the trial a little bit. There was people that testified for him, like, why do you think they did that? Like, knowing that all the stuff that's happened, and you can watch it on camera, him slapping him around, and they say, oh yeah, he's still the Messiah, and all that stuff. Why do you think that still goes on in being a Jew?
Because they believe it. They believe that he's the Messiah, and also is to the point where he's done so many manipulation on their mind that they're willing to believe anything that he says. So if he's saying like, no, you got to do this and you got to do that, they would do it. They would do what he says regardless. And they won't even think like not to do it. So I think that all those people that took the stand for him were told to do so and told what to say verbatim, because that's why they sound so similar. And I think that he has control over their mind completely.
Yeah, some of the wives, we did an interview with them, and they were so standing for him. He's innocent, and that means they're standing against you, technically. With the verdict being given as it turned out, what do you feel for, you kind of know how they got to where they're at, for them to sit there and, unision and still throw up the three and say, we're here for him. He's guilty now. What do you think happens to that mindset for them when they were so fighting for his innocence? And technically he got himself the time he got overall. What do you feel from, just from knowing them in the way you knew them? What happens next on their end? Do they look to another, quote unquote God? Do you become lost souls? I mean, what do you feel happen? What do you want or hope that may happen for these women as well? Which I guess you can see them as victims too.
Yeah, they are. They are victims, and I love them. When I tell you, all we can do is pray and hope that, and to see a better vision for them, see a better life for them. I pray that they get their mind together, and I pray that they can take it back from him, get their power back. And I pray that they don't seek any guide but God. I pray that they only go to themselves, they come to themselves and are able to have that sense of discernment again, have that sense of judgment, and know how to guide themselves again. That's what I pray. I don't want them to go to any other man like I did so many times. I don't want them to, go seek out, another Messiah. I want them to know that Christ lives within them.
Let me ask you, when it comes to like, you had a sister, you had a mom in your life. I'm sure people have parents, brothers. Was anyone like trying to like say, hey, it's time for them to come back? I mean, we want to talk to them and we don't like what's going on. Like, did anyone try to intervene, any family members of yourself or anybody?
If they did, I guess I wouldn't like listen, I guess. I think that when I left, they would let me know like that, don't go back, you're good where you are, And there was one time I left for the second time. I didn't tell my sister. That really, really hurt her. And the day that I left, the third time, for the last and final time, the night that I left, she told me that she prayed that same night. My twin sister prayed that same night that I would leave. And God answered prayers, man.
Velvet did have like almost an escape story. I don't know if you know her story or what she said on the couch, but she had this whole like where she had to really plan for days her escape.
I believe it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think that's what you would have to have done for her and Malia, I believe it. I forgot Malia. That they're so ingrained, in order because she said she had to like sneak and get her passport, get him real drunk. Liquor start coming involved to where she purposely said, let me take fake shots and get him real drunk to finally escape like in such a dramatic fashion, like running to get to freedom.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that is the scenario that he presented that will cause that?
Absolutely. When I say absolutely, absolutely, I believe 100% she had to do that. Especially in her case, she had his child. That, how many times he would say, I was doing this for my daughter. I'm doing this for my daughter. He wants to keep his daughter. That was his seed, his investment. That's what he said in one live. His investment. That's what he created. So I 100% believe that she had to escape because he created an environment to where you had to escape. If you tried to leave Carbonation, you'll be surrounded by people. You would be told that you're nothing, or you're not nothing without the group, or you need to stay and work on your demons, or you'd be ridiculed. I was ridiculed. I was torn apart, man. Even him, he would tell me like, you're used up, you're washed up. No one's gonna want you. No one's gonna love you. You might as well stay. All this jibber jabber. So like, yeah, he would they would tarnish you until you say, okay, I'm done with being, mentally abused and emotionally abused. I'm going to stay. I believe that Velvet had to escape because she was the favorite, so she had to.
Did anyone else ever like get pregnant with all the downloading that was happening?
Man, there was a lot of like miscarriages and like not a lot of people got pregnant by Nature Boy for some reason. Just Velvet had a child by him. It was very hard for the women to get pregnant for some reason by him. For me, I thought I was pregnant by him at one point because I missed my period for about 6 days, and that never happened until I carried the baby. If it was a possibility, if it was a chance it was a baby, I said, God, if this is a karmic baby, please, I don't want it. I don't want it. Please take it away. And that's when I got my monthly the next day. Wow. Yeah, like there's times where I thought I was pregnant by Elijio, which tortured me because I never wanted to be pregnant by him. But he would make you want it by enforcing that you had to be pregnant by him because he's the superior man, he's God, and he's the king. So you're supposed to have the baby with the king. And he would tell me all the time, if you have a baby by me, like you're supposed to, you be the queen of carbonation, or you would win. That's what he said. I never wanted to win. I didn't want that. I wanted to be with Solar. And that's why I have a child with him today. I wanted to be with the man I loved at that moment. So it is what it is.
You mentioned revenge porn. Mm-hmm. That was after you left, like as far as him saying, hey, I'm going to put this out, or was that while you're there just to get, what was the purpose behind it?
The revenge porn?
Yeah.
Well, he did that to Velvet as well. If he really liked you and you leave and you're defiant and all this other stuff, he's going to take his revenge in some type of way, shape, or form by humiliating you, which he did to me a lot. And this way of humiliating me or taking ownership and keeping ownership over me was showing that, hey, I'm the one, pounding her or whatever. Like, so it was definitely for harassment, and it just made me feel like I was nothing. It made me feel like I had to go back. That's how bad the manipulation is, and that's when I started to study. When I felt, after seeing the revenge porn, I'm like, oh my God, like for a second, I was like, I'm gonna have to go back because I don't know where else I'm gonna go. No one's gonna want me. He has this online, it's everywhere. Everybody's thinking that I'm going back. They're forcing me back. I felt a pull trying to pull me back. And when I went to the authorities, I was basically fighting for my life. I didn't know what to do but to say something. Like, please help me. This man is doing this to me. You know?
Exactly.
So yeah, so leave that alone.
Was he always prone to record this? Like, I'm gonna keep record of all this. His intimate sessions, like.
Yeah, he's no different from R. Kelly.
Yeah, when you hear R. Kelly has tapes and tapes and tapes.
Yeah, it's the same entity. If you look at the eyes, you'll see it. It's the same entity. You have to look. The P. Diddy, you know, all them men, all them. Even, I'm not sure, but I don't know the man, Brother Polite or whatever. Even him was going down for certain things he did.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, you know, there's a certain energy that's the divine is not letting get away with at this point in time. You know, the vibrational frequency of the earth is shifting. We're going into a higher grades of consciousness and awareness, and we're shifting into more of a loving space. And that's not love. What he was producing is not love, and it's a virus to our earth. It's a virus to us all. So it has to be put down. It has to be killed.
And a real quick side note, when you mentioned high frequency, we just had an eclipse here in Texas, which I know you're on the other side, but with that, does that mean anything to you? Like a solar eclipse coming through America, people have never seen this for the last 30 years and won't see it for another 300 years.
It's not as exciting for me because I was feeling the shifts and the energy before the eclipse. You know, with the eclipse energy comes renewal, comes like letting go, you know, all this good stuff. But I was feeling it before the eclipse had already happened. So when you're in alignment, you're just already shifting with the stars anyway. So I didn't really like take it like, oh my God, but I was already in the flow of letting go, releasing. I cut my hair, you know, I was in the flow already. So no, it didn't really faze me none.
How you mentioned about, you trying to, if you try to leave, no one's going to love you. No one's going to want you. I want to talk about, that love life for a second, because I don't know if you could speak to it, but, we had a person on the couch before.
Yeah.
Which was Yada Awakening.
Yeah.
And you have history with him. This is
I do.
Prior to your carbonation or after?
Well, I was basically in the indoctrination of carbonation when I met Yada. So yeah, but it was prior to me even physically joining.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and that was a bit of an uproar on the internet. Oh, she's Yada's ex-wife. Now she's in carbonation.
Yeah, Yada was real big on polygamy. I think polygamy.
Yeah.
Was that what you experienced? And you were okay. You're okay with that. You're for that.
Yeah, because like I said, I was already in the indoctrination of carbonation, which preached about polygamy. So basically, I was already in like the mindset that it was okay to be with a man and another woman. I didn't see anything wrong with it. The whole thing with Yada, though, God bless their souls. I don't know what they're doing today, but I hope that they're doing well. That was a whole confusing thing for people. Like, it was an uproar because around the time that I started dating Yada, he was married, I believe, and I didn't know. He would tell me that he had an ex-wife or ex, not even an ex-wife, an ex that he's like, letting go, or he's doing whatever, putting that to the past. And before I studied Yada, I didn't really see him as somebody I wanted to date. I just wanted a teacher. Like around that time, like I said, I was looking for guidance. And around that time, he was in Ecuador doing his healing journey. He was like all this holistic health, and I was into it. So I said, wow, I'm going, and he knew Olmec. So I went to his birthday party, and I basically, which was Yada's birthday party, and through Olmec, and I got to meet him. I told him I want to learn from him, but he told me that he was basically I'm the girl he's looking for or something like that. So he takes me on a date and we start dating, and then I get introduced to 2 other women that I didn't even know that was a part of the mix. he one day takes us to a hotel and says, like, look, like, I want us all of us to do this thing, and it's gonna be a powerful thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm with it. It's for a mission, it's for a cause. I thought what he was doing for the people was very beautiful. Like, he would like sell like herbs and preach about cleansing the body to get mental health back again, and that's what our people needed. So I was like, okay, maybe I could date him, but it didn't go too well. It didn't go too well at all. So yeah, that I left that situation, and yeah, that's basically it.
So, you know, of course, I don't want to call it the elephant in the room, but, you know, you do have, you know, your daughter young, and I believe she's about, again, 10 months old.
Yes, she's
Almost
about
a
to
year.
be 10 months on the 23rd. Yeah.
At that same time, about 10 months ago, we had Solar here, and he introduced that he was actually with Velvet. The way that it was like the whole like, let me show you after doing this interview, and the smile he had. I'm like, oh, and he's like, she's Velvet is pregnant too, and you know, of course, brought in Elijio's daughter, and we have this picture where you have Elijio's daughter, Velvet's pregnant, and what for you? Because at this time, again, this is unbeknownst to me. We're meeting you now and going through this, but you're pregnant at this time.
Yes.
Not yet delivered.
Not yet delivered.
Did you know this was happening? Did you hear about it? Did you see it? Did you watch the interview? Did you get word of it?
I got word. I seen like on my YouTube timeline, because it was an algorithm, I guess, because of the carbonation, you know, hashtag. I stopped paying attention to that. I stopped paying attention to them. I didn't, to this day, I have not watched that interview. I don't watch people I don't really, you know, communicate with. And I don't really communicate with Velvet. I don't watch people I don't do that. I communicate with the father of my child because he's the father of my child, you know. And, but yeah, around that time, it was hard for me. I stopped watching them because I didn't want to be stressed out through my pregnancy. I wanted to keep my child, and I didn't want to cause any, you know, mishaps, you know. And I thought it was very wild and unfair to my feelings and emotions about certain things, because once he got with Velvet, I was discarded. That's how I felt. And honestly, it is a very sensitive subject, but I will say it because it's my story, it's my truth, and the truth. It was a whole mess. I would say that. When they got together, I had asked Velvet if she was dating him, because he posted a picture of them together. And it threw me for a loop, because me and Velvet was friends. And, you know, she basically laughed it off when I got on the phone with her, saying, you know, oh, this is wild, you know, this is an alignment and all this other stuff. And I was kind of getting confused because I felt like I was being gaslighted by her. So I told her, like, I'm gonna ask you this one more last time, because I feel like I'm getting more confused when I call to get clarity. Are you dating Courtney? Because if you are, I would like to know, because you're my friend. And she basically, after hearing that, screamed at me, yelled at me, got angry, and hanged up on me. I called her back, hanged up on me again after screaming and yelling at me again. So I decided not to bother her, because I thought I offended her for even asking if she was dating my ex at the time. But then, you know, a few minutes later, literally 2 minutes later, she posts a picture of both of them together saying, checkmate is mine for the taking. Love wins, which love wins was me and Solar's hashtag or whatever. So after that, I just got offline. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was pregnant. I got offline. She knew I was pregnant because I called Solar and I told him the day that I got pregnant, I told him I was pregnant. And he was with Velvet at the time, but I didn't know that. So he basically told me that the day that I told him I was pregnant, he showed Velvet, and Velvet was happy about it. That's what he said. But I doubt that she was happy about it, really. But that's for her to tell her story is her story. This is how I feel in my story. And it was just after that, seeing that they were together, I got off the internet for 2 months and got therapy because that was a lot.
That is a lot.
That is a lot, yeah.
It's funny how we're doing these interviews and we don't even know what trauma is being caused on the left side. I mean, we hear stories like, oh yeah, I have a girl, she's pregnant. And you just don't know. And what was it that caused you and Solar to split, if you don't mind me asking? Like,
yeah, we had a very toxic relationship at times. At times it was really good. When I tell you it was good, it was good. Like me and him were, compatible in certain ways, But then I just felt like I was being disrespected a lot because he just was so friendly with, women and wanted to be so polygamous. And I'm just like, we can be polygamous maybe later. Like, can we just focus on our monogamous relationship now, get to know each other, and let me bring in the women. If you want women, let me do it, But he just didn't seem to get that. And I looked at his phone because I don't normally do that. I trust the man that I'm with. But one day I had to, spirit intuition tell you to do something. So I looked at his phone and he's like, getting pictures and stuff from women and, talking about polygamy and flirting. And I just was tired of the disrespect. So I just left. I left him, in Mexico. And 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant.
oh, man.
So it wasn't even like some time. He got with Velvet like right after, I left.
So for you now, how is the love life now? I don't know if people know your history or do you even bring up your history? Do they know you? Do people get attracted to your story? Like, oh, you're with the Carbonation?
I just leave that alone. No one's really doing that. It's just, I'll leave it alone.
Okay,
God's working on my love life right now, so I'm thankful.
That in itself is a blessing.
It's such a blessing.
Before this interview started, I had asked you about some names, like people who were part of the Carbonation, some men and women. Who did you find yourself closest to outside of like Solar and things like that? Was there someone that you really was like, this is my person that I just like to lean on or just, watch, interested in outside of the main, Elijio, Solar, Velvet? Was there anyone that either you spoke to or you just kind of just garnered your attention? Just, I'm going to watch and see their progress in this.
No, I don't think so. Nothing comes to mind when you say that, so I'm not gonna force it and say like, yeah, I don't know. A lot was going on during the trial period. I was pregnant. The man that I was pregnant by was with another woman. I felt like I was being taunted online, but I never watched them, so I just left it alone. The people was harassing me. This Nature Boy sympathizer harassing me, it was a lot going on, so I wasn't really paying attention to much. I tried to just work. All I did was work and come home and go to therapy. Work, come home, go to therapy.
When Solar took the stand and testified against Nature Boy, what was his reaction? Nature Boy's reaction when Solar was...
I wasn't in the courtroom.
Oh, when that was happening.
When that was happening. I wanted to be. I just wasn't there. And I didn't get to see Nature Boy's reaction. But I'm pretty sure it was just like how he was reacting to everybody. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk then. Do you feel like the Carbonation story can and will be repeated?
No, let's not even think that. We're not even going to say that. We're not going to think that. Oh my God. But you know what? There's so many cults out there. And that's why this is so important. We have to spread awareness to it. There's so many cults out there. Sorry, we use...
Yeah, are there any red flags that people should look out for, like to say like a cult versus, like a family experience or, like now that you've kind of been in it, what red flags did you wish you would have saw before you got so deep into it?
I wish I would have saw that these men didn't really care about me, man. I was so naive, so driven by love and, wanting to be in love and also be around the people I loved. I didn't really see that this wasn't a situation for me. I wish I was more mature-minded when it came down to those situations. And now that's why I write it in my book about those type of things, so young women don't have to go through what I went through, and to catch the signs. The red flags with like a parent, like for one, like when I left, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there because I have a beautiful child by Solar, and I'm not gonna go there. But there's so many things I could say that were red flags, but there's too many to even count right now.
So I want to speak on it because you do have your book, and I think you had some other merchandise might be behind the.
Oh yeah.
You might want to play them.
Yeah, so I have my book here. It's called Lesson Learned. All right, and I also make candles as well. This is the candle that's burning. I hope it doesn't. See, I just moved.
Yeah, I was saying, hold it up real quick, and then you could set it down next to you.
Okay, so this is the hard copy of my book. Okay,
amazing. You're an author now.
Yes.
Amazing. That is amazing. No,
thank you. It's over 260 pages. You can go to my website to get it. It's on Amazon. Shout out to Amoy who did my website. My website is thejenaenuel.com. If you want to get a copy, you can go on my website to get it. And
I'm a big avid for audio books. Is there an audio version that?
Well, there's a Kindle version, so I'm not really sure how that works. Maybe people have been asking me about that, but maybe I'll put it on my website, which my cousin Amoy had made it for me. So I'll definitely try.
If ever you need to record an audio version, you can come right up here.
Yeah,
we'll get you recorded and we'll get it all the way done. No worries at all.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. And also, I make my candles. This is actually pretty smelling good over here. Y'all should smell it. It's really good. And also, one more thing is these shirts. Now, me and my mother run a business together. Me and my brother and a twin sister run a t-shirt business. It's called Goddess Tings. All right. And this is the I Am Worthy shirt. I am worthy. And on the back, it reminds you of you are worthy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and it hits home for us because in Carbonation and the manipulation and control of Nature Boy, he would tell us that we're not worthy. And he was always the one that was worthy. So that shirt is just a justification to self and also a reminder that you are what God says you are, which is worthy. You are the likeness and the image of God, so... Yeah.
Oh man, that's very powerful. And shout out to your mom. Are you and your mom close now, or have y'all gotten closer?
Yeah, that's my like. I'd say my best friend, like kind of, but like my mom is my mom. She is dope, and right now she's with my child and
amazing.
Watching her. I don't know what I would do without her, or would have been without her at this moment.
Are you able to speak with her about the situation that happened? Are you able to speak to her freely, or is there some things you just really, Mom, I don't want you to have to go through that with me?
For the parents of the cult members, I think that it's hard for them to even speak about those type of things, So I don't really talk to her much about it, but I talk to other people about it, so yeah.
There you go. Again, we look at this story as, I didn't know much about it, but I started doing my research as I went in. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people started kind of being enamored with it, but there has been a legion of people following the Carbonation up until, the leader, Elijio, you went ahead and went forward. Mm-hmm. Can you walk us through I know you said, there was that moment you had to go to authorities. Mm-hmm. Can you just really do you know what you were doing at that time? Or you're you know what the system you were trying to bring down? Were you realizing if I do this, mm-hmm. I'm shutting all of this possibly down? Yes.
I remember like it was yesterday, man. I was in the spa. I went to a spa after I escaped. I went to my friend's art studio and then I went to a spa. And I was trying to cleanse myself, detach myself, get clarity on my next move because I didn't know where I was going to go. So I tried to detox and, out of nowhere, I'm getting, notification that, people are thinking I'm back at the cult. And I'm just like, why? You know, I'm seeing it on my algorithm on YouTube and everything. So, and my friend even said, you know, there's certain things going on. So I saw that he posted, Elijio Bishop posted revenge porn on me. That's because I wasn't like, I swear, like when I left, I wasn't going to mess with them. I was going to just leave it alone. I was going to just live my life, figure out what I'm doing. I changed my number. I deleted my Instagram and I stopped getting on social media altogether, you know, just to get my mind back, you know, cry at night, paint at day, whatever. But when I saw the revenge porn, I felt like my world was spinning because it's like I left, leave me alone, you know, like let me get back my life. So when my friend saw that or told me about it, she said, look, you can go to authorities about this. I've never gone to the police about Nature Boy before. You know, I've gone to the police about someone else in the community before, but I never gone to about Nature Boy. And I'm like, I could never, you know, I thought I could never because that was the Messiah to me or the king, you know, even in that mindset, even when I left, I was still detaching myself from that mindset. Like, if I snitch on him, I'm going to hell. You know, like that's what I thought. Because, you know, he was the Christ consciousness, the Christ figure. So basically, I had to fight those thoughts and ask God what to do. Like, I literally prayed. I said, God, what do I do? And should I do this? And I felt yes, but it's going to be painful. So when I heard and felt yes, but it's going to be some trials and tribulations, I knew that I was the only one that could do it. And my friend was telling me, like, look, you can help those people too. And when she was showing me that they were getting abused, it made me like, I was like, all right, enough is enough. And so I went to the authorities after that and told them, look, he needs to be stopped. Like, he's doing this to me, you know? And I thought it would make him stop. I thought it would make him stop. But when he got his papers, he got served papers, Elijio started to mock me and call me different types of things and remind me that I was worthless. And reminding us that it's his world, he's God, and he's not going to get in trouble. And that's why he's where he is. So, yeah, that's what happened. Like, I was just trying to live my life, and they tried to pull me back in.
Where was he at this time? What city?
Atlanta.
Atlanta, back in Atlanta. And where are you at? Are you back home?
I was, like I said, I was in the spa. So, and I didn't have a place to stay at that time. So I was in Macon, Georgia. I believe it's Macon.
What is he backing this up with? Like, is it scripture from the Bible, or is it also it's all scriptures come?
Yeah.
So is he reading out of Proverbs or like?
We would have sessions of him reading the Bible verses and seeing how he was the Christ because of this and that.
Oh wow.
And he would often say that because his name Elijio was in the middle of the word religion. If you spell out the word religion, Elijio goes right there, and the R is right there, and the N is right there. Yeah, so he would say.
So how does he get from the scripture that says that he's the Messiah? Can you tell me like how he would put that together? I know that's a lot, but
it's putting myself back into this mind space of when I did think he was a Messiah.
Okay.
For the time frame I did, he would just, I don't know. You know, when I even think about it now, like, how did I think that he was the Messiah?
Yeah.
You know, like he would do the Bible verses and scriptures and stuff, but just like, I don't know, like, I remember when he took me in, I guess that's what he said. When I came back to Carbonation, and I wasn't feeling myself.
Right.
You know, I was insecure. I was, you know, doing things with my body that wasn't as sacred. And I felt like if he was the Christ and he was Jesus, I was his Mary Magdalene. So he used to go into the Bible verses about casting out demons out of the women, right? So I thought he would tell us like we had demons and we are demons, women were the devil and stuff. So I would say, oh well, maybe that's me. Maybe we're the reincarnations. Like if he's the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, maybe I'm the reincarnation of Mary Magdalene. You know, I don't know. It was like a delusional, very delusional fantasy world in that cult.
Did he say where this was going? Or y'all gonna go with this? Like, you know, like we're gonna die and then if we're gonna go to heaven, or I'm gonna build an ark, or what, like anything. Like,
yeah, he basically said that the world was crumbling.
Okay.
He told us that the world was hell. Like outside these doors, we not fucking with that, because that's out the way. It's gonna be washed away by nature. That's what he says. And then you'd be like, well, this is basically you made the world in carbonation, the house of carbonation, like Noah's Ark, basically. Right. And we were the chosen, and we're gonna make it through the new world, and we're going to rise up the new world and be the new beings of gods and goddesses that walk the earth. Like Avatar or something like that. So yeah, he was just basically saying that.
So where does this land after he uses religion to like abuse? Do you still get into the Bible, or where does that land after that? You know, like.
Well, some people go back to the Bible, you know, to truly understand it. I haven't gone back to it since, honestly, because it and that's bad. I've been told by God to go to the Bible because it's good. It's good things. It's biblical structure. It's like instructions before you leave Earth, basically. But because of that experience, I'm kind of like traumatized, so I just don't pick it up. And I just feel like if I pick it up, I have a responsibility to do certain things. Like, you know, so I left it alone after that. But it's good to pick up the Bible. It is good to read the Bible. It is. I like to refer to certain scriptures myself, like John 1:1. You know, in the beginning there was the Word was with God, and the Word is God. I love that one. So yeah.
So I have to ask for your story, because it's, again, the story might just be, your story is kind of really beginning. You know, you're still very young to where you have, you know, a child now, and, you know, you have to grow up and kind of see this. What do you see this going? Because when I first heard of this, I said, wow, this will make a great Lifetime movie. I could see Netflix picking this up and kind of going for that, which if that happens, you know, even outside of your book, it may be you still reliving a lot of this. And of course, you play a big role in, I don't want, again, the end of this, or at least something that this is the next transition in this chapter. Can you see this being picked up to be televised, to be played for not entertainment purposes, but for, you know, knowledge purposes, or I guess you can say entertainment purposes, because I can see them taking the story and saying, we're going to, you know, exaggerate some things, some names, some places, just to, you know, kind of point, for TV purposes. Can you see that happening with this scenario?
Oh, we'll see. We will see.
Are you in talks with anybody?
What?
Are you in talks with anybody?
Is anybody coming to you?
Yeah.
Asking you for, you know, a TV spot, or
that would be lovely, but
yeah, okay.
So you're open to speaking to some networks?
Absolutely. Whenever, you know, we'll see, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. You know,
we're giving y'all the blueprint here.
Yeah. I would love to talk about this, because it needs to be, you know, brought to awareness for our community. Like a lot of young women and men are getting sucked into these cults and sucked into relationships with narcissists. And I think that is very vital that people understand these type of things, because you don't want to get sucked up into it. You don't want to lose yourself. I lost myself and I had to gain it back.
You know, it's funny because, you know, TD Jakes recently got a lot of flack. And, you know, we look at, you mentioned Diddy. When you see, like, you know, and I want to say the Christian, you know, the man who's of the cloth being at Diddy parties, and, you know, you just mentioned earlier about, you know, the first lady who kind of shunned you for not doing it. Oh, you didn't go to the, again, I know you haven't picked back up the book, but do you feel like, you know, those that use religion to hide, let's say, some type of monstrosity or some type of urge or something that's not of, let's say, God, does it remind you of this whole scenario? Because again, this is still new. Like even Nature Boy being guilty, that's just a month or so ago. But does that remind you of this whole, man, here goes another person using religion to hide maybe something?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like these people, it's the same entity. Like I said before, they slither through religious beliefs because that's what people latch on to. That's what people are attached to, is their belief systems. And once they can get into your belief system and like show you a different way of life, and basically show themselves as a holier than thou person, and you believe them, oh yeah, they got you in the bag. But then they slither through your life like the snakes that they are and bite you and infect you. Like it's the same entity, the same thing. I believe that the P. Diddy thing, I think I see the similarity with the P. Diddy and Elijio and the R. Kelly, because I feel like they all hate women.
Oh, wow.
I feel like they all hate women, and they hide behind women because they cannot accept their sexuality of who they really are. Yeah, and yeah. So.
Do you feel like Elijio is gay? I mean,
absolutely. Man, let me tell you, right? Go ahead. I apologize.
No, you go ahead. Speak your truth.
Yeah, he can't. First of all, he's been in the entertainment industry for years, 10 years, a gay stripper.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Secondly, he watches transsexual porn to get off his rocks. And he would do that like basically almost every night. I watched him on these, what is this thing called?
The Oculus?
Yeah, Oculus.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's so traumatizing. He would watch porn on that all the time at night while getting sucked up by one of the women in the cult.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was always transsexual porn. Always women with male parts. He's gay. And he couldn't accept that about himself. He started going crazy. I was watching him go mad in the cult,
So why wouldn't he not just take the man? Because he could control the man, so why wouldn't he take the man instead of the women, you think?
I don't know. That's something that's a trauma. I believe all these men have something in common. They probably were like sexually, what's the word? Abused as a child by a man.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Molested.
Yeah, and I feel like they couldn't accept that they probably, liked it, or, they couldn't accept what happened to them. So they start, to hide behind women and abuse women and make and like be mean to them because they can't deal with what's going on inside of them, their own trauma. And then they go off and be so friendly and so happy with men. But when it comes down to the woman, it's the woman's fault that like that, or the woman is the problem and everything of that nature. So,
with Elijio being in jail now, do you feel like he is or will be having sex in jail?
He got his wish.
Wow.
He said all the real niggas be in there. He got a real nigga in there.
Oh man.
And that's what he wants. And I'm not. Hey, it's wrong for me to joke about it, and I'm trying not to.
You know him psychologically to where someone may ask, because again, we're speaking for the viewers, to where is he? There's nothing but men in jail. Mm-hmm. Will he be sexual active? You feel?
Absolutely. I wouldn't honestly. That I can't speak for anyone, but I honestly, truly believe he would be sexually active in that jail because that's all he wanted. He was bringing transsexual women to the home, women with parts. He sodomized a lot of his women, including me. He liked the butt. Excuse my language. I don't mean to say
that's
that.
As frank as you could be.
But he liked that. That's what he wants to be. He's in his own little heaven, I guess. Like that's what he wanted that, I guess. So that's how I feel. No one wants to be imprisoned. No one wants to be like shut down to the world. No one wants to be feeling trapped. But when it comes down to men, he was gonna make moves on them sooner or later. He was flirting with Jax when I was there.
Oh the Jax is the guy.
Yeah, there's a man named Jax who's a part of the group still. He would caress and try to manipulate the men to question their sexuality. He would tell the men to stay celibate and not have sex with the women. But then he would come on to the men and be like, oh, you look like you like me, or, oh, look, this man's in love with me, Jax is in love with me. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. Well, like in the Bible, it speaks on that. Like, so how would he twist that around?
What does it say about
Like,
that?
I don't know, quote, but, just about being gay and it's not right,
Hey, it's to each his own. Whatever people want to do with them life is what they want to do with them life.
No, I'm saying like, if he's speaking scripture, and then he does something like that, what do you...
Man, it's so confusing to try to understand because people has to do that all the time. TD Jakes, the guy, is that the guy?
Yeah,
that's the guy.
Yeah, that like I believe it 100%. He's talking about swallowed up. Talking about who?
Swallowed. Yeah, he never clarified what he meant by that. Man.
Yeah, that's exactly what he meant. You can tell. You can tell.
You could tell. So when you hear like, Cassie made a report against Diddy, and then you hear things about freak offs to where he or Diddy or Cassie or somebody would get other sex workers to come in and hey, it'd be what they call a freak off. I don't want to speak to what happens in the freak offs. Did that trigger you at all? Like while that was happening back in like November, December?
It didn't trigger me, but I was just like, yep, I believe it 100%. I believe it 100% because you can just see it when, like, I saw an interview with Cassie and Pity D, right? And someone was saying, is there something you want to confess? That's what the interview said. And the way he looked at her, and she said, keep it between here. Oh yeah, there's definitely abuse going on. I recognize that off the rip because that's what happened with me.
Wow, that's powerful what you're saying there. That's powerful what you're saying.
Good, thanks.
With that being said, what is, for you, what's next in your journey? Of course, again, you an entrepreneur, you're an author now. You will be having an audio book coming out soon. We're going to get the audio book. What is next in your journey? Like, what do you feel is next? Would you like to speak more to women? Would you like to save more women who might not know what abuse is and pull them out? And how would you like to see that being done?
I believe this is what this is all about, and this is what all this is for. I want to spread that awareness and be an advocate. I do. I want to impact women and be a friend to women who actually gone through a lot of things. Even women that's gone through prostitution, knowing that they don't really have to give up their bodies like that, and they can still become a sacred woman, and they can still find love and be in a righteous relationship. I want to be a testament for that and a testimony of that. So I'm gonna be doing God's work. That's what's next.
So do you still believe in polygamy, or is that off the table now?
Off the table.
Off the table.
Like one and done. Like you just because again you mentioned multiple relationships where that just doesn't work. If someone does bring it back up that you're interested in the future, you're like, you're going to go through your past and say, it never worked before, versus so it won't work in the future.
Basically, I feel like I just don't see the point in it anymore. There is a point for certain people, and to each his own. If you can make it happen the way it's supposed to happen, kudos to you. For me, I would love my man, and I would want to be his one wife, and I would like to have our family, our many, many kids, and just have a beautiful, wonderful, monogamous relationship. I don't see anything wrong with that.
And lastly, I didn't want to, I was saving this for the last moment because this shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Elijio did say, man, I love making love. I don't care if the baby's in the bed and wants to touch me and grab onto my man part. I'm good with all that. And that right there, you could say certain things to where, people, you could get the whole world against you. Like, wait a minute, we were on point until you say something like that to where no one could kind of agree with whatever you're saying. Even if you meant it in a different way, the delivery was like, what? Did you hear them words, and what are your thoughts when he said it? Was he dead ass serious? And did that happen?
You know,
Oh,
that's why he doesn't bring them kids to the cult. You know, he would be naked in front of everybody, including, I guess the babies in the carbonation. Like he would just go around in a robe, or he'd be standing naked in a room somewhere. So when I first heard that, I guess I wasn't really, when I first heard it, I was indoctrination. Like I was indoctrinated with the combination belief. So I was like seeing it as a kind nature, or like just a natural thing. Yeah. I'm thinking like what he says, like apes, or kids don't know any better, and it's natural just to be naked. But when I listened to it again, outside of the indoctrination, and I was disturbed. That's so disgusting to me, bro. Excuse my language. Like I'm being real serious. That no, that's not cool. You don't let your kids touch your dingaling, or excuse my language, fucking in front of your children. That's something you just don't do, and that's why that nigga's a danger to the community, and he needs to stay where he's at. Period.
Well, there you go. Oh man, Jenaé, what we want to do is, because again, we always felt like this was a story that, I don't want to call it the final story of the carbonation, but it was like, after all the stories that we've done, yours is kind of like the one that almost needed to be told the most, because you're the one who kind of, again, took him down. Yeah, took him down. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, for those that do want to, maybe enamored by you, want to follow you, want to get your book, want to buy candles, want to, of course, purchase a shirt, want to just follow you, see what your day-to-day is. If you are back on the internet, I don't even know if you're back on the internet yet. I mean, you might have got back on the motherfucker, but
I did. I sure did got back on the internet.
Yeah. How can they get at you personally? How can they get, the certain items? You speak it on the website again. Go through all that again if you don't mind.
Okay, of course. So if you want to get a website done, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. If you want to get a website done, my cousin Amoy does them. She just did my website. It's absolutely amazing. So if you would like that, shout out to Amoy Blake. I can guide that.
Yeah, but so how can I get in touch with you to get to her?
So for me,
well,
I have an Instagram.
How can I get in touch with her? Is it going through you, or does she have a website?
She has
does she have
website.
an IG?
She does. She has a website. She has an email address.
It should go through you first.
Yeah. What do you want?
Go through me, and then I'll get you that information, definitely. And secondly, I do have an Instagram. So that's going to be the @ Janae.Alexandria. Beware and be mindful. I do have fake accounts. People have fake accounts of me and everything like that. Don't be scammed.
Can you spell it for the ones who might spell it?
So it's going to be the @ JENAE .ALEXANDREA. So Alexandria. And then I have a YouTube. I don't really
as you should.
But I don't go on it as much. So I think I'm more on Instagram the most. Yeah.
Hopefully.
What's that YouTube though? What's that YouTube?
It's Sacred Lotus TV. I might change it. That's why I was just like, I might just change it to Janae Alexandria, the Janae Newell. Like my website name is thejanenewell.com.
I hope you figure out by the time we drop this, because whatever we drop, they're going to be going directly to it.
So what do you want to change it to right now? Tell us what you're going to change the YouTube to.
I might change it to the Janae Alexandria, but I might just keep it as Sacred Lotus TV.
We're going to post a link in the description.
Because on my YouTube channel, we have a lot of content when it regards to divine feminine energy. And in regards to collective women coming together and talking about the womb, talking about what it means to be a woman, talking about sisterhood, motherhood. So I wanted to keep it sacred in that sense. So, yeah.
And real quick, there was a situation that happened. I think, I don't know if it caused Nature Boy to get, I don't know if it brought him back to the States, but there was a situation, I think they were in Hawaii or somewhere, where no one was taking baths, and everybody was thinking up the airport or the plane. Something was going on. Were you there for that? And what was that?
No, I wasn't there for that. And I believe Velvet was there for that though. That was when they were deported from somewhere, Guatemala, whatever, Panama, I don't know. They was deported because they They didn't take baths. They didn't take baths while they was in jail because of the water. They don't believe in the water system and, the fluoride in the water. So they stunk, I guess, and they wouldn't allow them on the plane. That's what I know of the situation. I watched them around that time too.
I'm just looking at the Lifetime movie now. Like that
So
scene
funny.
in itself, man. It just that can sell the movie, man. That can sell the movie.
Funny.
Okay, for those, or you gave your IG again. You gave the website. The book again is called Lessons Learned by you, of course. So it can be found on Amazon, and also you said there's a Kindle version out.
Yes.
The candle brand itself is that
Smells so good.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Yeah, all the evil spirits in this moment is gone.
It does feel
They're not
lighter
even
here.
Yeah, don't need the Ghostbusters. Where can they get these candles, if possible? Again, his website as well?
The website, thejenaenoel.com.
Okay. And lastly, this is an incredible journey you've been on. You're here on the Blue Couch. Is there any shout outs you want to give to anybody that, got you to this journey or that you just want to recognize at this time?
Okay, shout outs to y'all. For real, because putting this together, y'all are amazing. I appreciate y'all and thank you so much for everything you're doing for me and for everyone else that comes on the Blue Couch. I want to say shout out to y'all first and foremost. I want to say shout out to my mother. I want to say shout out to my sister. Shout out to the T, Jenaé, Amoy, and shout out to my future husband, wherever you are.
He's in the comments lurking. He's in the comments lurking right now. Will she see this comment? All right. Well, with that being said, man, this conversation has been a journey, man. And I got to give you all the praise and give the glory to God because to have the strength to come on here and speak and tell this story and, just to get through it, it takes a lot, Again, we're in this moment of entertainment, of history, of, the Me Too movement, what do you want to call it, to where women are getting their voice back. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the most surprising thing was that they let the R word stick and he got a guilty verdict for that. Mm-hmm. Because most times, most people do not believe a woman going after a man. And I don't know if it was more women in the jury or the woman judge. I don't know what it was, prosecution, but the fact that you have vindication because it could always he say, she say. That's an intimate moment where it's only you and another man. Mm-hmm. And, it could either go one way or the other. So I give you all the grace for being able to come here and tell your, story and your testimony. But like we say, man, you're on the couch now. You're part of it, man. You're an alumni. You got to say it. Janae, you are a real life 3-star, man. There you go. Thank you.
Shout out Reallyfe 3 Stars, nigga. Move it. Hey.